This programme was made with the support of the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland.
With pedals turning, the miles are burning, revealing landscapes so awe-inspiring, from the crashing ocean to the mountains climbing. Ireland is there for you and me.
Ireland has great appeal.
Amazing country, just amazing.
It's absolutely beautiful.
And the scenery here is just fabulous.
We really enjoy the scenery and the landscapes, especially the rugged and the rough area around the coast.
Such beautiful views.
The nature and the people, they are very friendly everywhere I go.
It's a fabulous place. The country is beautiful, the people are gracious and friendly, and it's really old.
The biggest surprise was the antiquity of it all.
The sense of history that's everywhere.
This special history here in Ireland, that's what I love.
It's such an incredible sense of the past.
Smelling and looking at all these sights that are sort of like a fairyland.
And to enjoy this wonderful country, the wonderful landscape, and the very nice, very kind people of this land.
I'm Paul Wright and welcome to the 8th programme of On Your Bike, the series which celebrates those people and places we encounter on our cycle odyssey along Ireland's western seaboard. In our last programme we cycled to Doolin in West County Clare. Believe it or not, during the summer months ferries run between Doolin and the Aran Islands. Now with this in mind, I decided to hop on one of those ferries.
Look, I'm talking with a good man here now. We're in the pilot house, am I correct, of the Happy Hooker ferry?
Well, the pilot or the wheat house.
The wheat house.
Whichever
right.
you prefer.
And I'm talking with the captain. Your name, please?
Paddy Crow.
Paddy. Now, Paddy, I was on this ferry in 1990, and we were just shooting the breeze there earlier on, and you were just saying that it was launched in 1990, am I right?
It was. She was a brand new vessel you sailed on in 1990. She was launched in Arklow. She was built in Arklow. And we brought her around the coast here in the summer of 1990. So that's where she entered into service, and I started with her as a brand new vessel, and I've been with her since.
And Paddy, what are the difficult parts of the job now? I mean, we're plying the Atlantic here today now, and it's a fairly becalmed sea. But I mean, oftentimes I'd say now it'd be fairly treacherous also. Would I be right?
Oh, indeed it is. You're dealing with the open Atlantic here, and you have to. It's like any sea, if you like. You have to keep your wits about you at all times and know what's going on, know your weather forecasts. And we're dealing with today is a beautiful day in the sea, as was the last few days. The weather's been very kind to us, but you do get huge seas around here, and in those days we have to be very careful, especially when you're carrying passengers and to mind them and keep them. They have to be brought safely ashore, and that's what it's all about, is bringing people safely from one point to another. That's the job.
Absolutely. And what for yourself, Paddy, what's the best part about the job now? You've been plying this route for the last 20 years. What do you enjoy most about your job?
Well, I suppose I meet an awful lot of people. I know a huge amount of people over all the years, and every mixture of person from all over the world. And it's fantastic to me because you're hearing my story, but I'm hearing all their stories. And they come back like yourself years afterwards, and you still meet up and remember one another. And to me, it's really living the life.
Jeez, I think that's what it's all about, living the dream, man. I'm with you all the way, absolutely. Look at Paddy, I'd say you've met up with a few famous people in your day as well. You'd have to have, you know, I mean, I'd say there's a few famous people that you've had on board a ship.
Oh, indeed there are. And we just, normally, if they're very famous and things like that, we leave them to their own. We're not going to push them or do anything else. So we leave them to their own privacy as such. And the islands are very good for doing that with people that come out like that. We leave them. We've had everybody from presidents to Taoiseach to anyone else, down to sheep and goats.
Veering northwesterly 4.
you were telling me as well that, just regarding famous people, Paddy, that you had a famous actor who was in the Top Gun now in all these films. Tell us about this.
That's correct, yeah, with Tom Cruise on board. They were doing filming on Inis Mor, so we brought them from Doolin. They filmed in Doolin also. So we did bring them, and part of the set was a donkey. And the donkey was coloured white. It was made white. It was an ordinary donkey, but it was whitened up for the film set. But we brought the donkey with us on the ferry to Inis Mor from Doolin, and one man sat on the donkey all the way. So he said when we arrived on Inis Mor, he said, "I rode Tom Cruise's ass to Inis Mor."
I'd say if Tom Cruise heard that in Hollywood now, he'd have things to say.
Well, I'm sure he would.
And eventually we reached Kilronan, the capital of the largest Aran island of Inis Mor. After disembarking from the ferry, I next hopped on my bike to explore the island.
We'll cycle boreens, cycle highways, meet friendly kind folk down every byway to tell us stories of their own lives, living in the beauty of this country.
Bartley is Sanam Dom.
And Bartley, okay, we're up here. Just tell our listeners where we're situated at the moment.
We're situated up at Dun Aengus. It's Dun Aengus on the Aran Islands. It's a prehistoric, pre-Celtic defensive stone fort. Some archaeologists came out here in 1992 and for 4 summers, and they dug up the place to see what they could find. So in their archaeological digs for the 4 summers, they found 4 main things, we think, in their digs. They found bronze, so they dated it back to the late Bronze Age. They think people lived here from about 1100 BC to about 900 AD, so they think there would have been like a civilization here for nearly 2,000 years. Also in their archaeological dig they found amber, so they knew there was dealing and trading going on with the Spanish sort of armadas and stuff like that. In Galway we've got the Spanish Arch. They found tons and tons of empty shells from shellfish as well in their archaeological digs, so they knew that the diet of the people would have been from the sea, that have utilised the water around them to feed themselves. And they also, in the inner wall of the fort there, they found evidence of dwellings where people actually lived here as well. So there's 4 walls of the fort. From the outer wall in covers an area of about 14 acres, so it's a pretty big heritage site.
Wow, 14 acres,
yeah,
that's
a
very...
So there's 4 walls, so they think over a long period of time that have built from the outer wall inwards. There's 4 walls here.
Wow, very interesting. And also there's a Fullocht Fee as well. I mean, I was up there a while back, and that's a cooking, an old ancient cooking.
Yeah, there's a good few of them, evidence them around the country as well. It's on the inner wall in there, and originally it would have been like a small swimming pool, like a big pot filled with water, would have been watertight, and then in the immediate area they'd have heated stones to a high temperature and put the heated stones into the water to boil the water. So they'd have rotated that every 20 minutes or so to keep the water boiling, so then they'd have put their shellfish or fish in there to cook. So it was a cooking pit, yeah.
And literally in the ground, built into the ground, and you threw your hot rocks in, and that would boil up the water.
It was like a communal cooking pot, Yeah.
So literally you're throwing the sheep or the cuts of the sheep.
No, probably it's just mostly shellfish originally when they come to the fort first time off,
Right, and Bartley, why was the fort built here? I mean, was there a strategic reason, military or what?
Well, the people lived here for about 2,000 years, but to build it up here, we think there's 3 main reasons for that. It's one of the highest cliff points on the island. You can see a lot of water and land around. You can see 4 counties from here, and we think they would only have to defend a half circle. We don't think the fort was ever a full circle. We don't think that amount of cliff could have disappeared in that period of time.
Right, okay. And what a panoramic view. Just try and give our listeners an idea of the panoramic view.
Well, on a clear day now, it's pretty hazy today, but on a clear day now, for example, you can see Mount Brandon in Kerry. You can also see Money Point.
I'm just after cycling from there, believe it or not.
Alright, Money Point down in Limerick. You can see the Cliffs of Moher pretty clearly, and you can see all the 12 pins then all the way up along the coast to Connemara. So it's called Dun Aengus. Dun is the Irish word for fort. Aengus would have been a guy's name, but Aengus would be sort of seen as a Celtic name, and the fort is pre-Celtic, so that's just a name that stuck to the place at a period of time, and then it carried on through the generations, and that's what we know it as today.
Right, and what about the actual water? I mean, how would they, because I mean, that would have been an issue that would have come up as well, that I was being told about by people
often
just
ask
talking
that question about the water, but there's 2 or 3 wells within the immediate area, but we think that they still sort of use it in the fields today for the cattle. Would have been like a raised swimming pool again and a slab of rock at an angle, so we think that probably would have gathered their rainwater that way, instead of having to go down to the well at the bottom of the hill every day. That'd be a bit awkward, you know.
Right. Yeah. And how many people, I mean, any idea roughly? I mean, obviously it's impossible to calculate exactly, but I'd say the archaeologists and people such as yourself would have a rough idea of how many people were living here.
It's very hard to know at any period of time, to be honest. They found, when they did their archaeological digs, they found evidence of 7 dwellings on the inner part of the walls, so they didn't do much digging on this outside. We can only take it for granted that there probably would have been dwellings on the outside as well. So we're not talking 10 or 12 people, but we're not talking 200 or 300 people. But other than that, we don't know. You know what I mean? There's so much about this place we still don't even know ourselves because it's so old.
Right, absolutely. And Bartley, again, at what height is it up Dun Aengus now from the sea?
About 85 metres. It depends on the tide, if the tide is in or out. So we say inner between 85 and 90 metres, which is heading on 300 feet, about half the height of the Cliffs of Moher.
My God, very high, very high. Very, 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 very imposing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Especially if you see the aerial photographs of it, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, I'd say, okay, you're at the interface here, the coal face, with people coming to Dun Aengus, and you're meeting them, you know, where are they coming from?
All over the world. We've a visitors guest book down there, and like when we get sort of quieting down before the start season, you'd be flicking through to see where people are coming from, and they come from over 120 countries, I think we counted there at one stage, all over the world. Yeah, it's world famous. We're sort of hoping maybe someday it'd be nice if it was made a World Heritage Site. Probably should be.
That's fantastic. I mean, from how far afield? I mean, I'd say now you've been meeting people say, okay, it's the United States, Japan, everywhere.
Well, every year,
anywhere in particular that really surprised.
Every year we seem to get a different nationality. Like a few years ago, of course, you'd have had the Eastern Europeans and the Polish and the Czechs and all that, and then there was the Chinese sort of one year. A lot of French this year, but the South Koreans as well. Definitely, they're the sort of new. The new country.
The new kids on the tourist block.
Effectively, yeah. But all over. Nothing surprises us when they come in, you know. People lived here about 1100 BC, so it's very hard even to contemplate life even back that far. You know what I mean? And the evidence is here that the walls, the little houses, that the people lived here. But we think when the fort was abandoned, then we think in or around 900 AD, for a long period of time, people didn't come up here at all. So that's probably why the fort is still in pretty good condition today, because it was untouched for a long period of time. People just left it, and the local people left it alone and didn't go near it.
Well, I'm still up here now on Dun Aengus at the very precipice. There's a German school tour groups right beside us there, so the listeners might hear German being spoken in the distance. I've got 2 good people here, 2 good native Hiberno English speakers. First of all, do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Yeah, I'm Jerry Barry, I'm from County Kerry.
I'm Sarah Varian Barry from Cork City.
Now, people, have you been up here before in Dun Aengus?
No, this is my first time.
I was here 33 years ago on a day outing. We came in from Rossaville, we were staying in Spiddle, and it was beautiful here. It was very quiet. There was a group of us from Art College in Dublin, and we were down here. So we just came up here, and what struck me really about coming up here, it wasn't the structure. These are just stones, do you know? But it was the smell of coconuts on the way up. It was phenomenal, because I never really smelled coconut out in the open air before.
Coconut?
Yeah.
In the Aran Islands?
Yeah. When the furze bushes flowered.
The whins in the furze bushes.
Yeah. And we got up here, and each of us took our own little spot, and we just dreamt and looked at the sky and lay down flat on it, and, stuff like that. Just connecting, yeah, that's a good word for it, yeah.
We're here now, and we're just down in the pier here in Kilronan. We're about to board the Happy Hooker ferry. I've just been waiting for the last half an hour or whatever, talking with different people. And there's a good man here that's got talking with. Where are you from yourself, and who am I talking to?
Tim Looney down in Macroom, in the county of Cork.
Fantastic. The Rebel County, grand.
Exactly.
And Tim, I just want to ask Tim, how did you get on now in the Aran Islands? How long were you here for? And how did things go for yourself?
Yes, we came over Saturday evening, and we're going off now this morning, Tuesday, and Sunday was absolutely fabulous. Now yesterday was drizzling all day, but nevertheless it was quite enjoyable, peaceful and restful. So yeah, we recommend it.
Fantastic. Tim, what do you love about this part of the world yourself? What is it about the magic of the Aran that does it for yourself?
Yes, all the west of Ireland, it's the remoteness. People are friendly here, of course, and it's, as we said yesterday, just getting away from it all, you know, quietness mostly. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Once you leave Kilronan here, it's just the solitude is unbelievable, isn't it?
This is it, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And if you go to the other side of the island, you couldn't be on your own, like.
Down in Bungowla, I was down there myself. It's
right?
Lovely.
Yes, oh yes, yeah. And yes, the ruggedness of the western side of the island and the cliffs, you know, and the awesome beauty of the place, and the force of the storms. You can see the result of it, like after the winters, you know. So it's impressive, to say the least.
Fantastic. And Tim, were you up in Dun Aengus yourself, the famous
yes,
fort,
we were.
Cliff Fort? What do you think of it?
Oh, beautiful. We went up there Sunday evening and we watched the sun go down. That was impressive.
And after my chat with Tim in Kilronan, I next caught the ferry from the Aran Island of Inis Mor back to Doolin in West County Clare. At this stage, I once more got on my bike to continue my cycle odyssey.
With the pedals turning, the miles are burning, revealing landscapes so awe-inspiring. From the crashing ocean to the mountains climbing, Ireland is there for you and me.
I'm here now. I've just arrived into Kilfenora on the bicycle. I'm still panting. And there's a woman smiling beside me here. She's saying, "Who is this blackguard?" But first of all, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners and just tell them where exactly we're situated in Kilfenora now and what's going on in the centre beside us?
Hello, my name is Frances Knoll and I manage the community co-op that is the Burren Centre in Kilfenora. It's Ireland's first interpretive centre, set up since 1975. So it's basically it's a layman's introduction to the whole unique Burren landscape. And we're at the gateway to the Burren. So if you want to know anything about the Burren landscape, your first port of call is the Burren Centre in Kilfenora.
Fantastic, Francis. Now, Francis, for a lot of people, you know, what is so unique about the Burren? I mean, what makes people from all over the world come to this corner of Ireland?
I suppose there are a lot of factors. The landscape, I suppose the serene beauty of the place. I mean, it's magical, it's grey, but yet strangely, it's very, very beautiful. The archaeologists come, you've experts coming to see the tombs, the forts. But I suppose personally, we find here at the centre one of the greatest draws has to be the flora of the Burren. And the complexities, like you have different flowers in the region growing. They all require different climatic growing conditions, but yet they grow in abundance side by side. So effectively the rock acts as an incubator and keeps them at a temperature. And an awful lot of people come specifically for the flora. And I mean, you can see yourself from around here, a lot of people around, it's very popular. And in this unique village, an old market village, it's just very popular. It has the draw for the people. So we get a lot of visitors, a lot of tourists. And layman's introduction, nothing too complicated for every age group from 6 up.
Now, I was actually just inside looking at the exhibit inside. It is fantastic. It actually really explained for the first time to myself, you know, and very visual impact, but you have fantastic exhibits, you know, going right through the history of the Burren, beginning with the very beginning when it was a carnivorous sea, to my knowledge. Really, really good. Just try and give our listeners a word picture of the scope of the exhibits that you have here in the centre.
Well, it's from 320 million years ago. So basically, from how the landscape was formed right up to how it is today. You know, there are different sections. You have the Ice Age, the arrival of man, and it's all visually explained by means of the exhibits. But I suppose the most important element when you go in first is you have a 12-minute film by Eamon de Butler, and this can visually stimulate the visitor to want to go out to explore further. We are not trying to explain what's out in the landscape, we're merely trying to encourage people to be more adventurous and go out and see and discover for themselves. So I mean, if you're interested in the caves, we'd recommend the local attractions like Galway or Doolin cave. So basically we're guiding them all the time where to go, and in showing them by means of the little each vignette in each section here inside, it's giving them a taster of what's out there.
We're here now in the main exhibition area. We've just come into the actual centre of the centre, the heart of the centre. Now we're looking at a major exhibit here. This is fantastic. Just try and give our listeners a word picture of what we're looking at, Francis.
Well, basically what you can see here is the Carboniferous Sea, and this is starting with where all the fish, this shell life and the marine life are all lying on the bottom of the ocean. The debris was compressed by the immense weight, and then it all compacted, and that's what made the stone. So basically where we are now is at the start of the whole experience, so from 320 million years ago right up, and then underneath then you see you have tables there that are identifying the different type of fish, the sea urchins, the starfish and everything.
And shark as well.
And shark as well, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, this is unbelievable. We're actually in an area now where there was once a sea 320 million years ago, and there were sharks and
there was sharks and everything, yes. So, and then by means of the graphic displays there, people can relate to exactly what they're looking at.
With petals turning, the milds are burning, revealing landscapes so awe-inspiring, from the crashing ocean to the mountains climbing. Island is there for you and me.
I'm just after getting off the bicycle there now and making my way up to Powell-na-Brone, Dolmen, here in the heart of the Burren. It's a fantastic, beautiful landscape of escarpments, limestone escarpments, and I'm just talking with a good man here. First of all, do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Well, my name is Padraig Kiernan, and originally come from Kerry, and just travelling here for a few days in and around the Burren.
Great. Now, Pádraig, what do you think of the dolmen yourself?
Well, what do I think of it? Well, for years I've been sort of looking forward to seeing it and getting to see it for the first time today. I think the thing that strikes me about it really is the fact that it's been there for so long. From the point of view of being an impressive edifice, I suppose it's not that big, but it's the fact that it's been there for so long and has been part of like ritual burials and that for our ancestors. Really makes it a very important site.
What about the impressiveness factor, the wow factor? Because I've just talked to a number of people here today, and there's a big, it's a great angle, isn't it?
Oh well, it is. Yeah. I suppose it's it's impressive. And obviously, like particularly the stone on the top of the dolmen, it's quite a hefty stone,
Capstone,
and again how they would have gotten that up there. It's just a very impressive. It's an impressive site in a very impressive landscape.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put it. Absolutely. But you're from a beautiful, impressive county yourself.
Well, from County Kerry, I suppose we'd be fairly fond of the county. Those of us that are from it, It has a lot there. It has a lot of natural beauty and a lot of history down there as well. And then for visitors, you've got beaches and you've got golf courses and good hotels and good restaurants and all that. So yeah, it's a great part of the country, really. Yeah, indeed.
I couldn't agree with you more, especially after just leaving it there reluctantly a few days ago.
You'll always be welcome back.
Thanks very much. Park, I'm just going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
What do you love most about your native land of Ireland? I mean, I've been touring around myself, and you can't help but fall in love with the place. It's gorgeous, you know, and these come to these sites is a pleasure and a privilege. But for yourself, what do you love most?
Well, I suppose really it is the landscape. I suppose primarily you can drive to different parts of the country, and particularly in the west. You know, I mean, the Burren is just an unbelievable place. But you've got history littered all over here between the ruins of castles, and you've got Paulnabrone, and you've got, you know, even going down to the Isle Cave, and when you hear how long that stalagmites and stalactites have been developing there over thousands and thousands of years. But it's just really the whole countryside and just the beauty of the place, really.
Island of grandeur at every sunrise, island of splendour at every moonrise, with herons waiting and gannets diving, salmon leaping, wild deer thriving. The door is open to friend or stranger, 100,000 welcomes you will find.
I'm just off the bike now. I'm after arriving into Galway City, and I'm talking with a good person in here, and I'm in the museum, Galway City Museum. Who am I talking to?
So my name is Sarah Gillespie, and I work here in the museum.
Great. Now, Sarah, we're looking at a famed icon of Galway City down the years here in the museum. What are we looking at the moment?
We're looking at the statue of Pádraig Ó Conaill that for years was in Eyre Square and that was transferred to the museum 4 years ago.
What's the story behind Pádraig Ó Conaill, Sarah?
Well, he was born and raised in Galway, and he wrote in the Irish language, and for a lot of people he's credited with modernising the Irish language. And I suppose his statue is kind of an icon in Galway City, a meeting point where people used to meet, and a lot of people have fond memories of sitting on his knee.
And getting their photograph
taken. Absolutely.
And what kind of a muscle beag dove, am I right? My little black donkey.
Yeah,
that's right, I remember reading that years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people would have studied it for their leaving cert at a certain stage, and they've fond memories of it.
Right. And why was his language so innovative? I mean, what was it about O'Connor's language that really, if you want to call it, gave the Irish idiom a quantum leap?
From what I understand, he wrote about aspects of Irish, I suppose, society that people would have preferred to have hidden. I suppose the less attractive society about emigration and what happened to people when they emigrated, and perhaps that they didn't get on as well as they thought they would in England. So
it wasn't always a success story, right? Now, okay, we're talking about emigration, obviously, and Galway as well, the city of the tribes, Cathrach na Gaillimhe. And I'm just looking over now at an exhibit of a very famed visit to this city in 1963. Tell us about this.
So it's actually an exhibition we put on in 2003 to celebrate the anniversary of John F. Kennedy's visit to Ireland. And as you probably are aware, Galway was his last stop on his Irish tour. He actually flew out from Galway, and he was only here, I think, for a couple of minutes. But the visit made a real impact, and this exhibition celebrates that.
And even up in Eyre Square to this day, there's some kind of commemorative plaque there, is that right?
There's a plaque. I think the square was renamed Kennedy Square in his honour, and the plaque celebrates that.
This programme was made with the support of the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland.
With the pedals turning, the miles are burning, revealing landscapes so awe-inspiring, from the crashing ocean to the mountains climbing. Ireland is there for you and me, from Odyssey to Inis from the Dalkey Island to Inis Boffin, from Carrontool to Lugnaquilla. Island is there to ramble free. We'll climb the mountains, swim the rivers, surf the high tide up near Bundoran, set our mainsail towards the Shannon, or see the hookers race off Spiddle Shore. On Blasket Island we'll walk the white strand and see where Peg drew her inspiration. Near Ennis Diamond we'll stand on high cliffs, those proud and majestic cliffs of Moher. We'll climb the steps of